All right, welcome back to Pips and Alex from White Cloaks discussing Star Wars, allegedly Obi-Wan Kenobi. Really, it's the Leia Riva show. We have the marvelous misadventures of Leia once again, and we're here by, I would say, popular demand. I think we got one request as a comment asking us to go into episode 5, episode 6 after our episode 4 review, and Alex and I are gluttons for punishment. We forced ourselves to watch Disney Star Wars Episode 5, and this is our reaction. So, I guess I'll say going into this, we're gonna try and focus mostly on the actual events of this episode. There's a second video we're gonna make because I think we discussed it before, and there's just too much to talk about. So we're gonna do a story, character, cinematography one, and then we're going to break down the actual assaults on the rebel base as a separate episode. So look by for that one as well. Alex, over to you. What was your overall feeling about episode 5?
That this is a horrible combination of a fan-made film and a video game, and somehow uh, McGregor owed alimony, and the person making the fan film paid him an unfathomable amount of money to do this. Like that is honestly what this shit looks like.
Yeah, actually, I think that might be the take of the episode. Is that yeah, Ewan McGregor owed people money. That's the only explanation for why we got this. All right, well, yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. The production quality, everything else. Let's do scene by scene. So
Oh,
this is the not de-aged.
this is my stepdad coming back from the gas station with smokes.
Man, these shots, like, I mean, I guess the digital stuff they did behind was confident, although that looks very procedurally generated. Like,
Oh yeah, this is all shot in what they call the volume, which
hmm,
is a circular filming setup that instead of green screens, they just put whatever their artist has drawn up, and they just put it in the background. So it's cool because they can see what the background looks like when they're filming it. They're not just filming a green screen and waiting for the editing group to backfill it.
this is just the
But the
thing that
prob
they made for Mandalorian, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're using it in a bunch of products, but the funniest thing about it is once you know what it looks like, it makes a lot of sense why so many sets are a circular room looking like a boss fight in a video game because that's what they're filming it on.
Because they're actually in
So
that.
yeah, so like this scene is a circle. The rebel base is for whatever reason a perfect circle, and it's just because that's what the filming stage looks like.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That that checks out. Oh man, he's not looking good for his age. Ewan looks great. This guy looks like the years have not been great to him.
And I think that's what makes it so funny is we're expected to believe that this guy is somehow Ewan McGregor's apprentice when he looks fucking older than Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Ah, yeah, what a great line. I'm not interested in civilities. I feel like that this is one of those show don't tell things, and the problem is they've made Darth Vader such a fucking pussy this whole show that they need to give him like lines to be like, yeah, I'm mean and rude.
Yeah. I still cannot get over the last episode where Riva was like, you know, I let them escape on purpose. And I'm just sitting here like, no, you didn't. You had them completely surrounded and were getting ready to tell your stormtroopers to
Yep.
shoot them
Yep.
when for no explicable reason, the sewer speeder showed up and started shooting everybody.
Yes.
So like the only thing that I can conclude from that is if she is telling the truth, Riva just expected Kenobi to be far more competent than he actually is. Like, she had him all circled up, and she was just kind of like, Kenobi, if you're gonna do your cunning escape plan, like now is the time to
Anytime.
activate that plan.
What's funny about that is that like we know from this episode that she just straight up wants to kill Kenobi. She's like sort of after Vader, but like she's mostly just about killing him because he trained Vader and Vader killed her friends. So like, well, oh, I let him go. Like, no, you didn't. Your whole thing was trying to get him. He's the only one that matters. And then yeah, we get this where now she's lied to Vader multiple times. Vader bought it all, hook, line, and sinker. He's the dumbest character in this show because he believes her, who's the second dumbest character in this show, closely followed by Obi-Wan, the third dumbest character in this show.
Like, and that's the more generous interpretation. Like the less generous interpretation, and what they're trying to tell us is that like Vader was very aware that he had somebody in his midst just waiting to assassinate him,
Yes.
and was cool with it for
Well,
reasons that are never made clear.
I mean, we see that she's literally no threat to him, so like maybe that's why. I mean, I guess that's the only thing I can think of is that strong woman is actually so weak, even though Vader is also the power levels in this show make no sense. Let's just say that. I also do like the this scene. It's like, oh, you've done well because a tracker tracked. This seems like Vader doesn't know what a tracker does, and so he thinks that she's done it.
Yeah, like if this show had any modicum of common sense, it'd be like your tracker worked. They're on Alderaan.
Yeah,
Fuck, we blew it.
I
I
don't
like
know.
they don't.
This is just the classic like people who think that like good workplaces have constant sort of validation. This is like Vader's giving like an affirmation to one of his employees, and they're like, yeah, see, it shows that Vader's like a good boss. So, fuck.
I Jesus. I like how like they don't even sequence it right. Like he promotes her and then she tells him that
Yes.
and then she tells that the plan was a success. I'm like, Jesus, you didn't want to
What
you didn't want to
what
wait
was
to
even the
make sure that
point
it
of
worked.
promoting her? What was even the point? It makes I mean, I guess it sells that the Grand Inquisitor is dead. I honestly think, like watching this, I think the only reason that they promoted her to Grand Inquisitor in this scene was because they hadn't talked about the Grand Inquisitor in so long. They had to remind the audience like that there was a Grand Inquisitor because otherwise it would just be some guy who shows up at the end of the episode and the audience is like, oh fuck yeah, that guy's shit. I forgot about him.
I could even see it being like almost like further like trying to sell the lie that this plan makes sense. Like, yeah, guys, see, this plan totally makes sense. This plan
Oh,
makes so much sense that Vader is promoting her for it.
all right, we're gonna have another episode about the plan. Let's move on. Yeah, this dude who doesn't need to exist in the show and not in this episode. Like, what? Why is he here? This is this
Diversity
is
and
just
representation.
this is like just another fairly famous actor. They had to pay this guy decent money to like do a really lazy job of just being his character from what Silicon Valley.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess he was in some Marvel movie or something like that, right? And you can tell like he's like he's put on some weight. He's kind of beefed up. I think that's true in real life that he's jacked now. Uh, I don't know why he's in the show, but okay, sure, yeah.
might have been they had to agree to give him a second role to get him to sign up for Eternal so they could use his name. But oh my, this
Uh,
entire sequence, it's like,
that's what it
why
was.
are we here?
Eternals. I forgot Eternals existed because I didn't watch it because I have not watched anything MCU since I don't know what was the one end game, and then after that they've all been so bad that I'm just, no, it's dead.
Yeah, Spider Man is
Spider-Man.
good.
I watched the most recent Spider-Man. It was good. I only watched that because the drinker recommended it. Shout out to the drinker. All right.
Yeah, you played it exactly right. So yeah, so he gets to the base, everybody talks, feelings are affirmed.
Okay.
Reva and Vader.
So, we skipped the ship landing because he was talking, right? So
Yes,
there was that other scene where, like, yeah, the window is closing in hours. I just wanted to point out that that apparently means, and this wasn't discussed in the last episode, that if their mission had taken slightly more time than it did, all of these people would have been stranded.
right.
And nobody brought
Remember,
that up. No one brought that up at all. Like, hey, we can do this rescue mission, but, like, I'm leaving you on that planet if you're not on my ship at this time, which is the thing you do. You have drop dead times. You have, like, hey, man, no later than this time, you're either back aboard or we're leaving you because, like, I don't know you and I've promised to rescue all of these people. Never brought up, but now we're supposed to believe that there's this huge time pressure. And it's such a throwaway line because, like, it doesn't even materialize. Like, why would they even need to say that? They could have just said, hey, like, I made these guys wait for me to go rescue your friend. Now you need to wait so I can go drop them off. And then the Empire shows up. Why create this weird thing where, like, now space trade routes have time schedules? I don't know.
it's so funny because it's very much the J.J. Abrams like false running clock,
Yes.
but then they're too slow to actually like remember that they set up this running clock. It's just laughable, and I think back to like back when Star Wars was
God, we're
good,
already more than 10
and
minutes in. This is going to be 7 hours long.
like back when Star Wars was good, Han Solo like okay, we're going to lightspeed jump, but the computer needs a minute, to calculate it. Like you
Yes.
can do it, but we need to just make sure we're not going to hit anything.
Yes.
Now we've completely flipped it. You know,
And it's
you
instantaneous. Yeah, it doesn't.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah. So we've completely 180'd the rules here.
very true.
Oh,
So we get that, like, he's gonna go down to the planet. I guess was the last one.
we
And then
must
we
break
and
Kenobi.
then the what if we can't get them to break? And then he has this line saying it's not them we need to break. And then we get the little robot that goes in to do this. Like, the robot, I guess, breaks the door opening and closing mechanism, which is
No,
strange.
the
Like,
the door opening.
I just don't get, like, what was that line supposed to even say? It's not them that we need to break. Oh,
I
and then
I
shot of
think it
Lola.
I think it was like the we couldn't come up with a reason like why they couldn't have a siege, like because Vader isn't patient enough.
Oh yeah, Vader's not
But
patient
then
enough, and then he waits on the ship the whole time.
yes, and apparently Vader didn't know about the trade route that the rebels
Yeah.
are required to jump through. Like, oh my god,
Yep. Evil Lola, as Disparu correctly points out. Evil merch.
evil merch. Talk about like a droid that apparently is capable of absolutely everything, and like everybody else in this show is completely retarded. Like,
Yes.
you have a saw, cut all the wires. Like, eh, you know, you flipped a breaker. Like, how is that your plan?
I mean, and
I
then and then Leia couldn't figure out how to unflip a breaker until she finds. We'll cover that later. Fuck it. Let's move on. Oh, this is such a dumb shot. Yep, got it. Every other Jedi also wants to go completely unprotected out into the hostile universe. It's pretty hard to hide a lightsaber. I mean, I'll just make the joke. Yeah, every single one of your moms is hiding one of those in her house right now. Oh man.
just dumbfounded by this. Is the idea that like all of the Jedi just completely gave up and stopped fighting.
Yes. Yeah, apparently they all just completely gave up. And they also left their robes. So like in the past, I mean, I guess Jedi have a look, but like we've never had it indicated that like the regular world knows that. And clearly this show hasn't played by those rules cuz stormtroopers never recognized Obi-Wan in his Jedi robe. But like the idea that they leave their lightsabers behind, which are very easily hideable, and I think come apart. Like you can break them down. Uh, and also got rid of their robe, which like yeah, ridiculous.
It- Jesus.
Probably to sell merch. I bet you could buy all of those lightsabers pre-made at the Disney Star Wars theme park. Here we see both ships in the hangar. I don't know that we're supposed to know the other ship exists. The hangar doors close. Okay.
Yeah, hangar door is closing. What I love about this is they moved that ship so many times, like between these shots. Like clearly, if we're going to believe what the show is telling us, somebody is getting into that second ship and shooting it every couple minutes just so that you can see it, but not really in the shots.
Yeah.
Drives me to distraction.
Yeah. Okay, gosh, back to back fighting. What this show loves back to back fighting. I think that's the only thing is that it's a it's a foreshadowing for the stupid back to back fighting we're gonna see in this episode and the next one. I guess I can't think of a reason that you would do this. I do want to bring up though again the terrible de aging, and just a quick question here: have we seen like full speed, full intensity lightsaber sparring between two people in universe before? We've seen like demonstration of forms. We've seen them shooting the little laser shooting ball, the trainer droids and stuff like that, right? Um, I don't remember us seeing like Padawan and Master like sparring and like I'm just gonna throw this out there. Sword fighters and like historical people who fought with swords used practice swords or like blunted or wooden or whatever. Are we supposed to believe that Star Wars doesn't have the equivalent of like a detuned lightsaber or like something for them to use in practice? Because these two dudes like almost kill each other several times. I'm convinced only the editing room is why neither one of them lost hands or other body parts in this duel.
We're gonna see that at least Riva's lightsaber occasionally doesn't cut through somebody when they go
Oh yeah,
flying, but
yes. They had the button on the hilt that turns their lightsaber to stun. Probably what it
sure, why not?
is.
Fuck you, Star Wars.
It's such a dumb scene. Launch the attack again. Doesn't have the patience for a siege, but he's gonna sit in the mothership, watch it all play out. Oh,
I guess at this point, you're in a fucking Star Destroyer. Like back when that meant something, you could do both. You could both siege it and attack it.
it's yeah.
I-
This is the dumbest speech. Fucking dumb speech. I just want to point out we're gonna go into more detail in this later, but like General Kenobi, one of the leaders of the armies of the Republic, fought in multiple like planet-wide campaigns, and this is about the best pep talk he can give. Like, it's fantastic.
will also say, um, McGregor is getting a lot of praise for this role. Listening to this speech, like, wow, I was really not impressed with his delivery at all.
Oh, he's
Like
phoning it
in
in.
this scene, yeah, this almost strikes me as like people are so happy to see him that they're willing to overlook,
Oh, it's total
you know,
nostalgia.
yeah, like they're overlooking a pretty flat performance, at least in this scene, and just kind of strikes me as bizarre.
I think in general, like he's a really good actor. Uh, he's not doing a good performance, right? Like he he looks right, he's doing the voice, and he's a good enough actor that like he can pretty lazily do better than anyone else in the show. And I
Yeah,
think it's foiled against Riva. You're like, oh my god, he's such an actor.
right. Yeah, this is I don't know.
The two ships
Michael
going in.
Jordan shooting 6 for 19, but it's fine because everybody else on the team shot 3 for 14, so it's fine.
Yeah,
That's what this show is.
pretty much.
Two ships.
Two ships, no TIE fighters. Uh, have we seen a TIE fighter flying in this entire show? We've seen them like on racks and shit like that. I don't think we've seen one in the air the entire time.
I don't think we have either.
I think you know what this probably is. Like I can tell you, this is a maintenance problem. They're going in the middle of the Empire maintenance inspection, and so all of their planes were down, getting inspected. Um, they all of their maintainers were going through sort of retraining and procedural evaluation stuff like that. So yeah, none of the flying was going on. It's really unfortunate they scheduled to shoot Kenobi during the Empire maintenance.
I I was headcanoning it as it's a union strike. You know, the garage folks of the Empire are a union shop. They're having issues with Palpatine on wages and time off.
I like it. I went the direction that I know, which is governmental incompetency, and you went with the private sector incompetency. I like it. Okay. This is them reinforcing the base, right?
Yes, because apparently gates work like Helm's Deep. And maybe my favorite thing about this is they're putting a crossbar
Yeah.
over it, right?
Yep.
These doors open laterally.
Yes. I know.
How does this help you?
I had to replay when the doors actually opened. I had because like in here you see like a very quick shot of them like kind of closing and then the bars getting welded on, right? Like you don't really see them like closing in a way that you can appreciate it. And so when she cuts it open and then they're open, I had to like rewind and be like, wait a second, she cut a hole, so like shouldn't they be going through like a narrow cut hole? And no, she like force pushed the doors open all the way wide after cutting through half of the door. Yeah, the doors.
She doesn't force push it. It literally opens because doors and electronics in this show activate upon like
Plot devices.
catastrophic damage to the electronics. Like Jesus.
Yeah. All right, welding the door shut. Ooh, here we go. Yep. The sort of I don't know. It looks like some kind of white phosphorus thing going on. Probably. It's whatever. I love all the stormtroopers. Like nobody's. They're expecting this door to open and them to start getting shot at. Nobody is in a defended position. Like they're not behind cover. They're not behind concealment. Like if you're breaching a door, they should be stacked up on the two sides of the opening over there and like in a line, ready to basically like pie the corner and come in through the breach, right? Um, and this is, I think, probably the best example of the circular set that you were talking about before, where like they have to have them all in the middle of the room because that's the only place there's a floor. Who lets her go near complicated electronics?
I don't even know what to say about this particular
uh,
bit.
if you trust me, I trust her. Why? Like this isn't a trust exercise. This is like a technical knowledge exercise, and she's 10.
I, I don't know if anybody has ever worked in like motor control panels. Uh, if you work in industrial plants, trying to figure out anything in a motor control panel is an exercise in misery. Like even the most basic thing takes hours and you just have to go through it with a schematic of the electrical. And even then it's just like flipping switches, praying like hell you get it right, almost on instinct. So the fact that a 10-year-old is just going to go up there and get it right without any assistance or help or technical, anything, just this is basically Ray, where the writers are like, well, she hasn't done anything awesome in 10 minutes. Time to give her a new skill.
Yeah, it is that like she doesn't have anything to do in this episode, and so they're like, ah, well, I don't know, she can fix the door. No one's fixed the door yet, right? Oh,
This
all right.
this
Let's
is this is the
let's
Kenobi
go. I
equivalent
can't.
of
I
Ray
can't.
being a master
I can't.
sailor.
I can't keep looking at this. Okay. Yep. The plot needed this to happen for later reasons. Yep.
I
uh, they didn't even make
some
it
of
so like this message deletes itself. This is literally only here so that it can be here later to make the next episode happen. Fuck.
I'm actually like I didn't think they were going to be this blunt with this. Like he might as well have literally just said, "Hello, Master Jedi Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
This is Senator for Alderaan, Bail Organa. I am calling to check on you to make sure that you have rescued my adopted daughter, Darth
Yes.
Vader's biological daughter, Leia Skywalker. I'm
Yes.
concerned that we haven't talked about our conspiracy plan recently. Um, because I'm concerned about that, I'm going to go hang out with Vader's son on Tatooine at the Lars farm at 1237 North Moisture Farmer Parkway."
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much. You know what? You're making a strong case that I might have, just because of his minimal screen time, I might have underplayed how dumb he is. He might be in the contention for top three dumb characters.
oh, Bail Organa is top tier stupid in this show.
I do like how he's doing the politician sort of hand talk. That's good. He's holding his sort of his Obama sort of pointer hand. That's good. He does it later too. He's always doing it when he's on screen because that's how we know that you act like a politician. Ridiculous. All right, next scene, the notches on the gun belt. I think she's got like I don't know what is that? We'll call that conservatively like 10 to 15. So cool. Sure, she was super bad, but she's saved like 10 or 15 people since then. It's probably good. I really wanted to make a meme and I didn't have time for this. Maybe I'll put it into post. And since I mentioned I'll put it into post, it probably won't happen.
This is talk about like a redemption arc that literally nobody cared about.
Yes.
Like, I am making up for my sins of the past.
Well, we're about to kill her and you need to care.
I was gonna say, or actually, this was wait, you were a bad guy at one point?
I know they've not shown us that at all. I thought she was a spy. Wasn't she a spy? But now no, she was actually a bad guy. Then she turned double agent. She was never a spy. apparently apparently as a bad guy, she knew about the resistance. And so when she decided that she had been too bad for too long, she just called her buddy up and was like, "Hey, I know I've been hunting you guys. That's how I know about you because I knew about you but didn't kill you. Now though, I want to join you guys. Is that cool?"
Establish your characters,
Stupid
people.
show. Also, that's going to show up later. It should be noted that it is actually on her person when she blows herself up. Tell the Inquisitor I want to talk. So he said Vader has no patience for a siege. The doors have been closed the whole time, so he has no idea who's actually out there. How does he know that it's the Inquisitor? Shouldn't he think it's Vader standing on the other side of the door?
One would assume.
The only thing I could come
Because
up with is that he knows if it was Vader on the other side of the door, Vader would have already cut the door open.
we'd be dead if it was Vader.
Yeah, if Vader had come down from his ship, this would be over by now. Fucking show. All right, we're about to have. Here we go. We're about to do the mid-fight exposition. the way that I don't know. Is that how film school teaches it?
I, I I don't even think anybody involved with this like attended any sort of like education formally.
I do like. So we don't have the shot here, right? So tell the Inquisitor I want to talk, and then you see the shot from like outside. They're like in the landing area, right? All the stormtroopers, right? Reva's there, and you see. So they've ceased fire on the door, and there's like the lead stormtrooper, different armor guy, who's standing up by the door. He's got his head like next to the door, and then he walks over to Riva and whispers something to her, and then she walks up to the door to have this conversation. And it's like, okay, how did they know to stop shooting at the door in order to let the guy walk up to the door to hear them say we'd like to talk? Like, do they just every couple of shots they pause and let this dude walk up there and inspect how good the damage is going? Like, not quite yet. Hey, you guys want to negotiate yet? No? Okay. I'm going to step back. You guys can keep firing again.
Like I legitimately was hoping that Rokin or whatever the fuck the dude's name was just gonna be like, you know, tell the Grand Inquisitor I want to talk. Motherfucker, how? How am I supposed to like?
that's
I don't
that's what
have
I
her
mean.
number that I can
That's
text her.
that's
Like,
what I mean. This shot would have been honestly better if they had just gone to the outside and just between blaster shots because they're like reloading the cannon or whatever, right? If just between it, if you had just heard somebody yell, like if they just made it so that you could hear yells through the door, then it would make sense that Obi-Wan knew it was Riva because she yelled because that's how she acts before they open fire, and then they could yell out to her, "Hey, stop shooting. We want to talk." All of that would have made sense. Instead, we see this stupid ass scene where a guy walks up and puts his head to the door to hear.
I,
Oh man. Sure. Yep. She
this
was she was a youngling.
this origin story, this like attempt at seeding the grounds for a redemption arc, is just so stupid.
Dude,
Like,
which is the most stupid? The fact that it's there, or the fact that she's been stabbed in the chest by a lightsaber twice and lived both times? Like, who knew Qui Gon had such a weak constitution?
right? God, yeah. And
Yes,
then she gets mad and cuts through the door.
the thing that she could have done the whole time. I will say the line that leads into this again really underlies the redemption arc because he's like, "Hey, you could be good again," and she's like, "You don't know the things that I've done on alone or on my own." Essentially, she admits to having done a bunch of terrible shit on her own with no one watching, with no one forcing her to do it. She's like, "Yeah, I'm super evil. You have no idea." Stab through the door.
Right?
Such a just really good character. Empathetic. That's the word. That's what we want.
I legitimately almost wonder, you know, were they forced to do the canon bit um, for like merchandising purposes? Because I can't imagine a professional writer, like, honest to God, wrote down, so we're gonna siege it up. We're gonna have a massive cannon battering ram, and then 5 minutes later,
Yep.
Reeves just gonna cut through it with a lightsaber. And it's
Not
like,
only that,
oh,
this is like, okay, we'll say it's a big iron door, right? We've seen in Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi was there to see like actual like double tripled up blast doors get melted through and cut open by a lightsaber. Obi-Wan knows this door does not stop Vader. He knows it. He knows how easy it would be. Like this scene is basically her saying, I'm bad. You don't even really want Anakin dead anyway. To which we all know, apparently true because he walks away and leaves Anakin alive again. So she was dead on right. And then she's just like, You think this door is going to be hard to get through? Nope. Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Bam. Slice.
Baffling.
There you go. Doors fully open wide. And none of these people are behind any cover. None of the stormtroopers are behind any cover. This is. Save it for the next episode. Just save it. Save the anger. Save the hate.
I've tried to count this. I've counted about 50 stormtroopers. How are they not all immediately dead? Like, even if you're shooting for somebody, even if you're shooting for Obi-Wan and you miss 2 feet to the right, you're still going to kill somebody.
Well,
Like,
the stormtroopers and the rebels are both the only cover and concealment they have is the body of the person directly in front of them, which does tend to make it hard for you to shoot. So this is like old school, like Revolutionary War, like kind of not even the Civil War had already changed this up a little bit, but like, yep, getting online, forming the ranks for battle, firing from the front rank, taking a knee so the dude behind you can shoot. Like, oh
like
man.
seriously, everybody look at this shot because we're gonna go to the next one. This is the only rebel that dies.
There was a not Taylor. There was another girl, not Taylor, and then Taylor.
uh, Not Taylor gets rescued by Obi-Wan.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Weirdly, Taylor, who gets a blaster shot in about the same place as Riva, gets a lightsaber shot, or lightsaber stab, is apparently not salvageable. Can't be rescued. Gonna die, 100%. Totally not a suicide bomber. She was already dead.
Uh,
Oh,
uh,
yep.
would you stop talking? No, people are dying. Hurry the fuck up.
I feel like that's just the writers really wanted to have that in there.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Guys, look at how amazing she is. She's cool under pressure. I also like how big they made the fucking door. You could
Yes.
have easily stuck Haja through that and been out of
Yes.
here by now, but
Yes. Also, like, don't they have other droids? Like, I'm pretty sure I saw an astromech droid. Fucking show. Okay. All right.
I'll
This is
getting shot.
this is her after getting shot. Yep. So she's like I said, she's got her. She's holding the pistol there. We know that the holster is on her other hip, and somehow the holster's going to survive though. Not sure how. We'll figure that out. There you go. Yes. Totally not a suicide bomber. She couldn't have just tossed that slightly over her shoulder towards the enemy and hidden behind this robot from the blast. Nope.
This is like such a shit scene in the sense that okay, first of all, throw the grenade, you stupid moron. Second of all, if you needed her to be holding it when it exploded, how awesome would it have been for her to like try and throw the grenade and have Riva use the force to just stick it to her hand?
Uh,
Like,
or she could have pretended to surrender or pretended to play dead and let them walk past her and then
yep.
detonated it. Like she plays this for least tactical effectiveness and most suicideness.
Right.
I think
Especially
I
because the
think
fucking robot is shielding
yeah.
the stormtroopers.
Yes. I think she might actually only kill herself. That's how I'm interpreting this scene.
I brought this. This is an episode of Community. How do I play this?
Oh no, what happened?
In the sequence of this episode, they are intentionally making a shitty, like, sci-fi movie. Like, they're intentionally making it awful. and they're going to do a better job of this than this show. This is what we're dealing with here, people.
I mean, to be fair, I mean Allison Brie, you know.
An absolute dime.
That's all I have to say about that. Allison Brie, 10 out of 10. That was a great scene. What happened? What happened in that scene?
Person knew how to use a fucking grenade. God damn it.
Uh, this entire episode won't make a difference.
When Obi-Wan is saying, like, I need to surrender to Vader. He only wants me. No. No, he
We've
doesn't.
already been through this. He actually wants the path. He wants the rebels until slightly later again when he decides that he doesn't want the rebels and he only wants Obi-Wan. The rules are made up and the points don't matter.
Right? Like, what was going through Obi-Wan's head here? Was he like, okay, I'm going to walk out, and then the Empire is going to fly away and let these guys escape? Like,
Yes.
what?
Yes. Yes. This is where it attacks her completely ineffectively. It has like a little saw blade and like all sorts of stuff, and she's 10, so like, I guess we know how Reva smashed this thing so easily.
Right.
I don't know why you'd put a weapon on a child's toy, but you know, it's probably fine.
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference? Like a kid's pocket knife versus a droid with an automatic saw. Like, you know.
Oh god. Yeah, this is I think everything this episode was going in one still.
This is what Kathleen Kennedy's wet dream looks like.
The Force is female in a shot. Perfectly explained. You have a man on his knees, a bunch of other men in the background being useless, and Reva.
I fucking hell.
What's funny is, so did she even order them to take him back inside? I don't remember if I replayed this. I think that he just has the conversation about like Vader won't see it coming because he'll only be looking at me, and then she's like, "Yeah, that's a good plan." But like they're having this conversation in front of in front of the stormtroopers, and then the stormtroopers like take him inside. I kind of feel like these were the loyal stormtroopers. They're like, yeah, these two fuckers are planning shit against Vader. Like, let's break them up.
Like, uh, guys, the enemy is on the other side of that
Yes.
gate.
Yes.
Like,
also, I like that there's like a bunch of dead stormtrooper bodies like everywhere. None of them have like moved them around. Like they haven't gathered their dead. They're not doing any sort of first aid. They're literally just like, what is happening?
the one literally a foot away from
Yes.
the guy on the
Yes.
left is
Yes.
incredible.
And I think the one on the right walking Kenobi is literally about to kick one of the sort of dead bodies of his buddies. Fantastic. These stormtroopers are really acting like clone troopers.
If you were a stormtrooper and Reba was like, yes, take the enemy's best fighter back to the enemy, just you two, and oh by the way, he can use fucking magic telekinetics.
I was gonna say, so he initially comes out and the two stormtroopers handcuffed him. Like, put your hands up, and then they handcuff him. Like, yeah, handcuff the wizard. That'll work. And then he like, you know, he comes out. There's this great thing where like she is looking at Kenobi and is like, inform Lord Vader that we have him. I'm like, who the fuck are you talking to right now? Like, you're looking at Kenobi, telling Kenobi to inform Vader, I guess. It was like, just have her look directly at the camera if you're gonna do shit like that. And then Kenobi has his one smart plan of the entire episode, or show, really, of like, hey, let's team up and try and beat this Vader dude. Because she's easily manipulated because she's dumb. And she's too dumb to even execute it. So she sends him away. Fuck.
one of those things that like you're talking about like does Vader know that Riva is a traitor? Like, okay, Vader lands, she's like, I have him inside. He's like, okay, cool. Well, clearly you're a
It's a
traitor.
trap.
Yeah. And then
Where's
how does
Admiral
she not
Akbar when you need him?
right? How does she not realize this is so stupid and he bought it? He must know it's a trap. Like,
Uh, we'll talk more about her complete incompetency in traps. But
ugh.
all right, here we go. I'm not sure the lesson that this scene was supposed to do. Like, so he lets himself get disarmed. So he gets cornered. Then he does like a ground roll away. I guess that works. Gets on the other side. He gets disarmed, but then he's able to disarm Anakin in return, and that means he won. Is that what I'm supposed to like? What did you take away from the scene? I was legitimately confused by what they were actually trying to tell the audience with this scene.
I legitimately like this was so dumb that when Anakin disarmed him and said, "I have won," and then Obi-Wan said, like, "You haven't won." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? He's clearly won. You don't have your lightsaber. Like,
Well, it's because
what are you talking
you
about?"
think that they were dueling. Obi-Wan was actually talking about this is next level Jedi training here. So off camera, they were playing chess, and between moves on the chessboard, they would go duel, and he distracted Anakin with the duel, and Obi-Wan actually has him in checkmate. So that's
Uh, this
honestly,
is another one.
that would be legitimately a better fucking scene. That would actually show something about like, yeah, he lets his rage and his like desire for like the victory in front of him distract him from the greater victory. That would be like, okay, I see what you're doing from a character level. Instead, we just get, yeah, no, you haven't won. Like the fuck he hasn't.
Yeah, you are disarmed and on your knees with his lightsaber pointed at you. Like the only way he could win more thoroughly than he has already won is if he cuts your head off, which he could easily do. Like, what the fuck, guys?
I have him secured inside. Again, she didn't actually tell them to do that. They just did that, I think. Kind of like I let him escape so I could put a tracker on it. I think she's just, it's a male stormtrooper's world. She's just living in it. Things are happening around her. She's just making the best narrative she can.
I have him secured inside my lord.
I gave
Why?
I gave him back to his friends, so he's secured in that like the base is still on lockdown. I guess.
I have him secured inside my lord. But did you put a tracker on him? Like, is you
Also,
expecting him to go back
re-
to his
re-
base?
refresh my memory here. After they take him inside, don't the doors close again
Yes.
with no lightsaber cut? So like the door
Uh,
the doors close behind him and the two stormtroopers and are like fully functional again.
yes.
So like fuck. I didn't even think of that problem watching the show. It's just coming back to me now. It's just I was bombarded by so much stupid watching the show. Like the fact that we see this silly silhouette fight off camera that I just
Right.
it couldn't even compute. I couldn't even figure it out.
How how disrespected have stormtroopers gotten that we literally don't even show them being beaten anymore? We just
This
assume that they got beaten.
this just reminded me of Austin Powers. It's like he's walking back and he's like, "You guys don't even have a name tag. You've got no chance." Oh man.
The next Star Wars project they need to do, I hope they make the stormtroopers hyper competent and almost play it for a laugh. Like you have one Jedi like come out wielding a lightsaber and like against 10 stormtroopers, they just go, "All right, on the count of 3, everybody fire. You 3 shoot for his chest, you 3 shoot for his legs, you 4 shoot for his head." and they just murder him instantly.
What is funny is they're simultaneously coming out with shit like this and Bad Batch. And in Bad Batch, it's like, yeah, you can't have clone troopers. They're not nearly as good as stormtroopers. You just see stormtroopers. It goes to what you said the last time about like absolutely destroying the sort of headcanon of like the Empire just having like a hyper efficient, incompetent sort of like middle management, like middle officer corps that just gets shit done. It's like, no, those are the people who retired clone troopers. That was the Bad Batch. Retired those dudes and replaced them with like literal mannequins.
An honest to God walking meme. How did this empire take over everything? Like, I mean, Jesus Christ. Cool, you killed 100 guys with lightsabers. 40 dudes with blasters could destroy every stormtrooper. I
Oh man. Oh god. No. We've talked about it. No, just move on. No. Lola,
It's too
stop.
much
She's
damage.
she's struggling with merch. She's just holding in her hand and sort of shaking around. Like the thing's not flying. She's literally just holding it and shaking it back and forth. It has a tiny restraining bolt on it. Fuck.
Okay, if taking over a droid is as easy as
Just
like
putting a bolt.
slapping a sticker on it, you can't have droids, right? I mean, just operational security requires
Yes.
no droids.
Mm-hmm. Or you'd at least have to be like, hey, that droid has red eyes. Fucking shoot that one.
Right? The arms race between the Empire and the Rebellion, the Empire trying to come up with a droid takeover bolt that doesn't turn the eyes red.
Man, they'd win too quickly. We couldn't have a series.
Well, I mean, it might be that they deactivate all the ships, they open all the doors, and the rebels are just standing there, but then like 7,000 stormtroopers walk in and every single one of them misses every
they just
shot.
they managed to shoot themselves in the foot.
Right.
All right, so she disarms Lola. She opens the doors. Right. Luckily, no Tie fighters, no Star Destroyer, no even like their own escort ships. Like nope, those aren't there. And yeah, so we get the egress right. Let's uh,
I think
electrical
the
engineer
funniest,
Leia.
right? I think the funniest thing about this is if you were using common sense, the Empire accidentally just saved the path by sending that droid in to close the blast doors. Like, they have a Star Destroyer in space. Orbital bombardment should have killed all of them if
or
those blast doors were open.
or they could have landed all their stormtroopers in the place where their ships were. Yep.
Right? Like,
Like I said, we'll talk flaws in Imperial and Rebel strategies. Oh man. I think that was the shot, the previous one where dude's getting his own spinoff, right?
is Crushed Ice really getting his own spinoff?
I don't know. I mean, that's the only reason I can think of why like you're such a leader and you better not be done yet. Oh, I'm only getting started.
Oh, Jesus, you're right. We are.
It's gonna happen.
Fuck it.
The
Why not?
path. It's gonna be Star Wars: The Path. Coming soon to a Disney Plus account near you.
Disney Plus 2024.
Okay, so here he can see both ships. Right, first ship takes off. He can see the second ship. Absolutely manhandles the shit out of the first ship. Fucking Star Killer level stuff right there. Right, and then I don't know what your next shot is, but like, is it just him impotently watching the second ship go?
No, it's him tearing open the ship and not
Yep,
seeing
yep,
anybody.
yep. Cool.
Which
Tears it
brings
open.
brings me
Who
up
was
to
flying it?
yes, this pokes a massive hole in the Last Jedi, which admittedly is uh, holier than our nation's southern border, but like, how the fuck? Like, if they can autopilot ships, why the fuck did Holdo have to pilot the ship that flew into the fucking Star Destroyer? God, Figure your shit out, Disney.
Because as we've seen with suicidal hand grenade usage, that you have a terrible character. She needs to kill herself to be empathetic. And then yeah, the ship goes away, and he just like, well, shit.
And I used my ship stop ability. There's a 35-second cooldown
Yeah,
on that
there's a
power.
cooldown. uh, he could also just like, I don't know. Presumably he has a radio. This could have just told the Star Destroyer to shoot that one down.
All right, yep, got away, blast it.
All right, this is where we actually saw? We talked through this already. Where he somehow manages to win.
Right, guys, can we come up with an answer? Can you or can you not pull people's lightsabers away with the Force? Like,
So this has been, I know a lot of people kind of in the fandom have discussed this, how like it really ruins lightsaber fights. I guess now lightsaber fights are exclusively just whoever has the strongest ability with the Force would win every time, regardless of all other factors. So like the several Jedi Masters who show up to go fight Palpatine, like them combined, they should have just locked him up in a freaking, they should have airbended him into a straitjacket, and then problem solved. No him leaping around. Like, nope. We have 5 Jedi Masters. Our powers combined, we can freeze you up with the Force, and I think we're done here.
thing involved with General Grievous is a fucking travesty because of this.
Yes, because he has no Force abilities. He would have just been constantly just fucked with by the Force.
Pretty much.
Just watching a Padawan just kind of lift him up in the air and turn him over like a turtle on his back and just stab him through the middle.
Yep.
Okay, the incompetence of Riva's plan here. So you have a device. You basically have like a, like not even a, no, it is a switchblade, right? Lightsabers are very large insta kill switchblades. You could have just walked up to within blade distance and just pressed a button. Instead, he hears it ignite, and then you like run swing at his back.
Yep.
I have nothing else to add.
Riva is hyper incompetent.
Oh man. Like this is, I guess, shows why Snoke was able to be killed the way that he did, because apparently people don't know that you could just do the switchblade lightsaber move.
Right? Who would have thought?
Oh my god. So he takes her lightsaber, splits it in two. I can't figure out. I tried to look up stills and like do some research on this. I couldn't figure this out. So we back and forth see her lightsaber as one of the ones with a full circle disc around it or a half circle disc in like different shots. So like it's a half circle disc, I think, every time it's on her side and like she's carrying it around. It's a half circle disc when she's using it as a single blade. And then when they want to show her doing the spinny blade one, it turns into a full circle one so that it can do the spin. I can't tell. Like, did they just change her prop and like didn't think people would know that? Is her lightsaber a transformer? Like,
The only thing that I can possibly come up with is like it almost folds, like the
yeah,
circle part
I was that
folds.
was what I was thinking too. But like, why wouldn't they have if that's the thing it should do? We should have seen it fold out, right? Like, if that was what they wanted to do with it, then we should have seen before she ignites the double end and starts it spinning. She should have held it there, and there should have been a thing where the half circle splits open like a clam, full circle. Second saber ignites and it starts spinning. right? Am I wrong that like that's how a competent sort of screen director would have done that shot, so that the audience is not like, where did she get a different lightsaber?
Yeah, not only should that how not only is that how it should have been done if you were filming this competently, man, Disney is getting to the point where they don't even advertise their merch well in their shows.
I
Like, say
okay.
what you will about the prequels, like,
No, no, no. That's one of
yikes,
the reasons I
guys.
was so confused because like I went and like action figure, like Riva action figures. Some of them have the full circle lightsaber. Some of them have the half circle lightsaber. Like literally, they can't get their shit straight.
Yeah, fucking hell.
It's just it's all made in China, and I don't know, translation error.
Right.
He
Now,
gives her a
with
fucking lightsaber back. Son of
this scene, were you able to turn your brain off enough to enjoy just Vader just crushing this woman for 30 seconds?
so
I
I
was not,
I
but
will
I have
say
had friends tell me that they were.
I will say like I okay, half of me was like, this is really, really shitty choreographing. The back to back fighting shit was stupid as hell, right? Other than him giving her the lightsaber back, other than him like letting her get behind him and like doing back to back fighting again for no damn reason. Um, just if it had just been like she keeps on swinging at him with the lightsaber and he just like doesn't ever even draw his weapon and just like dodge, dodge, whatever, and then if it had ended where he pulls her lightsaber away from her and then just throws it away on the ground, and then what we saw in episode 4 just force chokes, picks her up. Brandon Crisator comes in, talks to her while she's getting force choked. She loses consciousness. We think she's dead. The two, like, Vader lets her go. The two of them talk about, like, yeah, good. Now she's dead. And then they leave, and then it's like, oh, they misjudged it. She's alive because he didn't force choke her hard enough or something. I don't know. That scene, like a sequence like that, could have been good and would have made more sense. Instead, we see like it starts out okay with the him just kind of dodging and toying with her, and then he like fights her kind of on her level, easily beats her, fine, with really shitty sort like lightsaber fight sort of mechanics going on, and then does the asinine like stab through the chest that doesn't kill her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't see any justification for her being alive. Like there just isn't one. Either Vader is incredibly incompetent in that he can't tell if he's killed someone,
Yep.
character damning, or he intentionally let her live, which is also character damning.
Yes. Yeah, Vader I think is the most damaged character in this show in terms of like where he fits in the overall story. Obi-Wan, like this is super dumb,
Ooh,
but
I
like
don't know.
at the end
It's
at the end of episode 6, like Obi-Wan gets to the point when he's riding off into the sunset or whatever, you're like, okay, so Obi-Wan is now exactly where I thought he was at the end of the prequels. Uh, you know,
that he's also
commuting,
morally
you
culpable
know,
for everybody that Vader kills afterwards.
I guess that's true. So like he's still damaged in that way, but in terms of like just who he is as a character, so like yeah, he's complicit in all this stuff, but like his character is the same because he did leave Anakin alive in both of the two circumstances. So like he's not, I mean he's more culpable because he knows who Vader becomes and he chooses not to kill him. Whereas the first time you can maybe think that he left him for dead, thinking that he was going to be dead, but didn't have the strength to kill him off. But like that's a similar enough sort of parody. So like Kenobi, I think honestly this whole show could have not happened, and Kenobi's character is basically where it was before, which is like he's not a fucked up useless individual. He's a Jedi master in hiding. Um, and then Vader is just like I don't know how you're supposed to watch this and then watch the original trilogy and have any fear of Vader at all.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
He,
This damaged Kenobi a lot in my eyes. in terms of, he wasn't just there protecting Luke. He was off doing a bunch of other goofy shit and was just like got really lucky that Luke isn't
Sure.
dead. Like
Yeah.
he's a failure in that regard. Him not killing Vader
So
is just a moral
yeah,
atrocity.
I guess I do agree with you. I guess the way that I was looking at it is like if I just did a snapshot of like where we were before and where we are at the end of the episode and just or the end of the show and just pretend that the middle of the show never happens. like
Yes,
uh,
you can pretend that Kenobi. You can pretend this didn't exist for
yeah,
Kenobi.
this was all a fever dream for Kenobi, but Vader is fucked.
Yeah, right.
All right. Fuck, we're over an hour. Damn it. All right, she's, I guess, just the opposite of the scene with Kenobi. And he's gonna not kill her. So, that looks pretty lethal.
Right.
uh,
It's pretty fucking dead to me, but I wonder what the diameter of a lightsaber is.
yeah.
2.5 inches, 3 inches.
I mean, I don't know. I honestly like is some of that just like the glow, like it's so intense that it has like a nimbus around it, you know? I definitely feel
I
like
mean,
it's either like a sewing needle and that's why she lived, or it's about as big as it looks, in which case no, you just lost a chunk of several vital organs and
if
probably
I
your
hear
spine.
right, if I hear one more person say it's okay that she lived because lightsabers cauterize things, guys, cauterizing is massive fourth degree burns.
Yes.
Okay, like if we're saying that a lightsaber is as hot as plasma, which is what it is canonically,
Mm-hmm.
not only is she dead from the stab portion of this,
It cooked the
she
meat
is
around it.
cooked.
Yes.
Yes, her entire torso is fried.
Especially, so think of the lengths that people went to justify the Grand Inquisitor's death, and they were like, "Oh, it's not canon breaking because he's going to still be around for Rebels because his species has two stomachs, and he got stabbed in only one of the stomachs, so he's got like a spare stomach." It's like, all right, well, how the fuck is she alive?
Right. Even that one, guys. A lightsaber is like 25,000 degrees. Yeah, great. He got stabbed through the first stomach, and then his second stomach got incinerated.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking hell. Why are we
Yes.
putting ourselves through this?
Here we
Oh,
go. He-
Grand Inquisitor is a character we haven't assassinated yet. I don't think.
I mean, well, we let him die to Riva.
That's true. I guess we did let an absolute moron kill him.
But it was
I
part of a
seriously,
plan. It was part of a plan.
right?
I
If you're the
don't know.
Grand Inquisitor, how pissed are you at Vader? Like, you knew she was a traitor this entire time, and you didn't tell me, bro. What if she cut my head off rather than stabbing me? Like,
He calls
even
her.
still, getting stabbed really hurts.
I like that he says goodbye, Grand Inquisitor, to her when he leaves. Like he called her third sister before, and then calls her. Why? Why would he call? He he should, in theory, know. We only made you a Grand Inquisitor as a joke to make this more hilarious. like this, this was all a joke. It was all a meme played at your expense. What?
Like, I mean,
Ah,
that conversation would almost have to have happened between like Vader and the Grand Inquisitor, like giggling about how funny this is going to be, because that is the only logical way that this could possibly have happened.
yeah. Oh man. Yep. The dude dropped fucking a third of his special task within like the first hour of getting assigned it, and of course it's corrupted data, all this stuff, but it happens to say Owen Tatooine, and she's like, "Oh, remember that one farmer dude named Owen? It's probably the only Owen on Tatooine, right?"
Remind me that I need to list out the plot contrivances that need to happen to get Riva to Tatooine, because it is honestly a double-digit list of things that had to happen.
Man.
Uh, This is an
uh,
atrocity.
and I wish data corruption happened that way too, where it's like, yeah, this data file is corrupted, but like just hit play and like it'll just be slightly broken, but still working, totally fine.
Yeah, here's
Ah,
Obi-Wan looking traumatized.
I have so little to just eat. Like, man, I'm so tired of this episode already. Like,
Right? It's
so
disgusting.
they're getting chased by the ship. They can't shoot straight. Apparently, he admits to Leia that he's scared, but she's not. She's being brave for everyone else. Like,
Well, that's the next episode.
oh, thank God, we're almost done then.
This is actually the
Oh,
last
thank
shot,
God. Oh,
as
thank God.
Disparu put it phenomenally well. I sense a plot contrivance in the Force.
This is him wondering. Like this is the face of him thinking about where, like, how his career ended up with him being here, and maybe counting the amount of money he's getting paid in his head and trying to decide if it's worth it. Like that's what that facial expression is.
Right? Oh
Oh
my god,
man, fuck. I this
this
episode is
hurt.
terrible.
This hurt.
Okay, I don't
How
know.
did people like this? Like, how did the how did the Star Wars people like
If you just
get
turn
on
you
board with
turn your
this?
brain off and just consume the product, and you're just like, oh, Riva's the theme song when Riva was telling them to open fire was like, it sounded kind of like the Imperial March, but with like a different thing on it. It was like the Riva theme. Oh, it was so good. Like that's what it is. It's the merch. It's the veneer of Star Wars. Just like, yep, this looks Star Wars ish.
What, like the rehab centers to like fix people when they get indoctrinated into a cult. We need more. We need more beds in those places. My God.
They haven't. Is it possible that they haven't hit rock bottom yet? What is it going to take for them to come and self admit? For them to come in and be like, hey, I need a 12 step program.
Like, what is the very bottom? Actually, I think what it would take, and I think Disney might even do it. I think it would take remaking the OT with like modern Disney sensibilities regarding like female characters.
Don't even finish the sentence, man. Don't give them ideas. Remakes are all the rage right now. they'll they'll decide that the sequel didn't work out. What if we just do a remake? uh,
I can totally imagine a gender bent OT where like um Prince like Lan Skywalker gets
Darth
kidnapped by Vader
Darth Vader
and
is just a stand-in for Donald Trump.
right, and I'm trying to think uh like
uh,
Lucy Skywalker and Hannah Solo have to come rescue Luke
they they
or
kill they blow up Alderaan because they too many Alderani refugees had been trying to get across the space border.
right.
Oh man, some employee at Disney Star Wars right now is watching this saying, "These are some good fucking ideas."
I actually would be like, as a parody, I actually think that would be very amusing. Like, just, you know, the original trilogy if Disney had owned it back then.
uh, I think we've
I
said
need a
about as much as we could say. What you got any saved final thoughts here?
I need a drink. Like, we can't be doing these in the morning.
We're
This
recording
is
this on
this
a
is
Sunday morning, not even noon yet, and uh,
Do I honestly? Do I need a beer? Do I need to go to church? God needs to help me. All
and
right.
with that, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry if you had to watch the episode first. I know we are a little late to this. We were busy with some other content. So, to any of those of you who had to subject themselves to seeing this and then get the sort of triggering PTSD inducing rewatch with us here, sorry.
Like, comment, and subscribe, everybody. We love you and we appreciate you.